All right, this is the oral administration for reporting category 4, test 2, and reporting category 2, test 2. They're combined, but let's just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the questions, and you pause your Chromebook while you answer the question, and then just go on to the next one. All right, so here we go. Number 1, a partial grassland food web is shown. You have badgers, ground squirrels, prairie chickens, upland sandpipers, ants, beetles, grasshoppers, grasses, lupines, and Carner blue butterflies. Which of the following best describes a relationship in this grassland? A, badgers are top predators because they eat upland sandpipers and beetles. B, a producer-consumer relationship exists between lupines and ants. C, a predator-prey relationship exists between beetles and ground squirrels. D, upland sandpipers are primary and secondary consumers because they eat grasses and grasshoppers. Number 2, which statement describes the energy changes that occur when water in a tea kettle is heated on a stove that uses natural gas? A, some of the chemical energy in the natural gas transforms into thermal energy, which heats the water. Then some of the thermal energy changes into sound energy when the water forms steam and the steam leaves the kettle. B, some of the thermal energy in the natural gas transforms into sound energy when the water becomes hot. Then some of the sound energy changes into light energy when the kettle becomes warm. C, some of the electrical energy in the natural gas transforms into thermal energy, which causes the water to form steam. Then some of the thermal energy changes into sound energy and light energy when the steam leaves the kettle. D, some of the light energy in the natural gas transforms into chemical energy in the water. Then some of the chemical energy changes into kinetic energy when the steam leaves the kettle and into sound energy when the water boils. Number 3, wheat was one of the first plant crops that humans domesticated. In the process of domestication, the wild form of wheat was eventually changed into a form more suited to human agricultural practice. Early farmers most likely used seeds only from wheat plants with A, larger grains that could produce more food per plant, B, taller stems that could block sunlight from weeds growing at ground level, C, larger flowers that could be sold for additional income, D, thinner stems that could endure heavy winds. Number 4, to fight a bacterial infection, a patient was given an antibiotic to take for 10 days. After the patient finished taking the antibiotics as directed, almost all of the bacteria were killed. After another 10 days, the patient was sick again with the same type of infection. What most likely happened? A, a few bacteria survived the antibiotics and stopped reproducing. B, the patient's high fever inactivated the antibiotic, allowing the surviving bacteria to grow rapidly. C, the antibiotic slowed the life cycle of the bacteria. D, some of the bacteria were resistant to the antibiotic and they reproduced. Number 5, a 1,100 kilogram car comes uniformly to a stop. If the vehicle is accelerating at negative 1.2 meters per second squared, which force is closest to the net force acting on the vehicle? A, negative 9,600 newtons, B, negative 1,300 newtons, C, negative 900 newtons, D, negative 94 newtons. Number 6, white tip reef sharks spend most of the day lying on the ocean floor. While remaining still, these sharks pump water across their gills. The movement of water across their gills is necessary for A, staying cool, B, accessing food, C. Obtaining oxygen. D. Avoiding predators. Number 7. This drawing shows a human body system. What is the primary function of this body system? A. The protection of vital organs from injury. B. The chemical breakdown of food into smaller pieces. C. The transport of nutrients, water, and oxygen to body cells. D. The production of hormones that regulate growth and metabolism. Number 8. Lions and cheetah prey on wildebeests that graze in the grasslands of the African savanna. What likely effect would increased rainfall over several rainy seasons have on the populations of wildebeests, lions, and cheetahs? A. All three populations would increase. B. The wildebeest population would decrease and the lion and cheetah populations would increase. C. The wildebeest population would increase and the lion and cheetah populations would decrease. D. All three populations would decrease. Number 9. The diagram of situation 1 shows one person failing to move a refrigerator up a ramp, while the diagram of situation 2 shows two people successfully pushing a refrigerator up a ramp. What comparison can be made about the work done in the two situations? Number 9 is one that you can skip because we no longer have to test you over work. Number 10. An ecosystem that is not sustainable can break down when a natural disaster occurs. This can lead to organisms in the ecosystem either leaving the area or dying off. Increased biodiversity results in a more sustainable ecosystem because A. A greater number of plant species means that there is less barren land. B. A greater variety of species present allows more organisms to adapt after changes occur. C. The transition area between two ecosystems is narrower. D. There are fewer species to be affected by environmental stresses. All right, we're going to substitute this question in for number 9. So go back to you don't have to physically go back to number 9. But anyway, this one's going to be number 9. An energy pyramid is shown. Red-tailed hawks, Mexican free-tailed bats, water boatmen, algae. Which sentence best describes how energy flows through this pyramid? A. Energy is transferred down each level of the energy pyramid. B. The energy lost at each level is consumed by organisms in the top level. C. Energy is transferred from organisms in one level to those in the level above. D. The organisms at the bottom level provide energy directly to organisms in all the other levels. Number 11. A group of scientists studied some trees in a pine forest. In the densely forested areas, the trees were within 1 meter of each other. The scientists observed that these trees had dead branches near the ground. They measured the height above the ground at which the first living branches were found on different sized trees in the forest. Then they repeated this procedure on the same kind of trees in an open meadow. This graph summarizes the scientists' data. Living branch height in pine trees, height of living branches above the ground in meters, trees in dense forests, trees in open meadows. Which inference is best supported by these data? A. Pine trees in a dense forest can grow taller than pine trees in an open meadow. B. Pine trees in a dense forest compete for sunlight with the surrounding trees. C. Pine trees in a dense forest are part of a less complex food web than pine trees in an open meadow. D. Pine trees in a dense forest have more living branches than pine trees in an open meadow.